What if I told you that there is an early round that you can completely ignore? I mean, an entire round. Just don't draft a player from it. That's what my guest, Jakob Sanderson, suggests today. He also shares with us his favorite player targets and structures for drafts right now. And then he guides me through a wild Best Ball Mania draft where some might say we drafted too many rookies. I'll let you be the judge, though. Here it is. Jakob Sanderson from Thinking About Thinking, and then this year, ADP Chasing and Ship Chasing. I want to know, who is your favorite player to draft right now on Underdog, the player you can't leave drafts without?
TreVeyon Henderson. TreVeyon Henderson was a player who, when I do my running back rankings way before the rookie drafts, I also include if I were a GM rankings. So I finally get to throw out my fantasy hat, the draft capital hat, and just who do I like the best. He was my second favorite running back in this class. I think he is an absolutely outstanding player. I think he can play on all three downs as an elite pass protector. He's a really strong pass catcher. And I think just one of the most efficient and explosive running backs in all phases. So to me, I look at him going in the middle of round 6 now. And, I am a co-host of ADP Chasing. I'm legally obligated to draft at least 20% of Drake May. So as an avenue to get into an offense I'm really excited about, and a player I'm thrilled about, at a price I'm thrilled about, he's someone I'm absolutely trying to build my season around.
I feel like an ADP twin for him right now, and a decision point for people is kind of him or RJ Harvey. Obviously, Harvey has slid a little bit since the Broncos signed Dobbins. How do you think about Hendo versus Harvey?
Yeah, I'm fascinated by this one. So I like Harvey as well. And I was into him more sort of pre-Dobbins. I was really excited when Dobbins signed because I thought he was going to slide a lot. I thought we would get him going kind of where Caleb Johnson and David Montgomery and where Quinshon Judkins went for most of the year. And I would have been pumped to get access to Harvey at that price. I think he's fine at his current price, but you look at where him and Henderson are together. Dobbins was frankly more impressive last year than Ramondre Stevenson. If you want to say they're equal, that is totally reasonable. I'm probably a little bit more excited about the upside of like the total running back expected fantasy points ceiling in Denver. But overall, I think that the Patriots offense might not be that far behind, given how excited I am about Drake May. I think Josh McDaniels is going to be a significant upgrade over who they've had as a play caller recently. And I just think Henderson, as much as I love Harvey, and I'm a huge RJ Harvey fan, I think Henderson is a better player on my rankings. And if I look up and zoom out of my own world and I look kind of to the consensus, NFL draft capital models like JJ's, there's a huge gap between Henderson and Harvey as players. So to sort of just be able to take a very similar bet on a player that I think is much safer at the same cost, to me, it's Henderson.
You mentioned Drake May. It sounds like you like those stacks. Does he take the cake for your top stack in these Best Ball Mania style tournaments, or does another team sneak in there?
I do like doing Henderson and May. And in fact, one of the reasons I like Henderson so much is because I don't really love the prices on a lot of May's weapons. So that helps. Probably the team stack I'm doing most, which will not surprise ADP Chasing listeners at all, would be the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm one of the last holdouts on Trevor Lawrence Island. I remain a Trevor Lawrence truther. Full disclosure, I have some very long shot Trevor Lawrence MVP bets this year. I'm really optimistic about the Jacksonville Jaguars overall. I love Liam Cohen. I think he's going to do wonders for this offense. Obviously, I like Travis Hunter quite a lot. And as he's falling now, you can get Thomas in the early 2nd and Hunter in the late 5th. And that is like one of my favorite things to do on this earth, basically, right now. And of course, I think they have several reasonably priced backfield options, my favorite being Tootin. But as Bigsby's falling, I'm getting more and more interested in him too, in sort of the 160s. So really, really fun team to stack. I love taking quarterbacks in that window where Trevor Lawrence is going, and he's probably my favorite one of that group.
Does any of your love extend to maybe some of the less sexy players? You mentioned Tank. The other two that would come to mind that get drafted, De'Ami Brown and Brenton Strange. Are you kind of like, give me the premium pieces here?
I take basically every Jaguar. I think the only Jacksonville Jaguar I'm not like at least 8% on is probably Travis Etienne. I take De'Ami Brown. I was taking a lot of Brown like very early when he was an 18th round guy. And then he's come up into the 170s, 180s. I think he's fine there, but I probably prefer like Darius Slayton, Michael Wilson in terms of like similar kind of bets of that range. In a vacuum, I would do Brown with Lawrence. And then Strange is interesting too. He was a guy I wasn't super high on in a vacuum outside of stacks early, but as we've sort of seen, like this Jonnu trade basically just took 2 tight ends off the board and down to late round options. That's really made me look more into Brenton Strange. Yeah, it's like him and Hunter Henry are probably 2 of my favorite options in that range. And if I have Lawrence, then absolutely I'll break the tie to Strange.
Yeah, I love it. I think that the Jags, whether it's Hunter, whether it's the running back room, a post, hype Lawrence breakout, they do feel like they are going to define the season, the fantasy season at least, in one way or another. What about your favorite late round, let's say 18th round sleeper, a guy you can pretty much reliably get there at the end of drafts?
I really like the Rams guys. It's part of the fun of the early parts of drafts is you have the potential for Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. If you had to pick 2 players to have the highest combined target share on any team this year, I would pick the Rams, right, with Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. But Puka gets hurt, frankly, like every year of his football career. That includes the NFL, that includes college. I believe Davis Maddock has gone all the way back, probably to his Pop Warner days, but certainly his high school injury history. So I think he's a decent bet to miss a couple of games. I still love clicking him. Devontae Adams, of course, older receiver. I don't think anybody would be that stunned if he wound up missing a couple of games or just came out and, pulled the black marble out of the bag this year. So I look at the sort of contingent scenarios around this offense. Jordan Whittington, to me, is a really fascinating late round option. Mostly because I love the idea of using late round picks to take very anti-correlated bets with early round picks, but you don't have them on your team. For instance, I'm not drafting a lot of Saquon Barkley on those teams without Barkley. I love to take Will Shipley. And I think that Whittington is the closest thing we have to a wide receiver version of that. I do take a lot of Puka, but on teams that I don't, I'm very interested in getting Whittington, especially if I have Rams or Falcons. I think he will play, nowhere to near the extent that Puka is capable of, but I think he'll play that role in this offense. And it's a role that we've seen a lot of players have success in because it situates so well for how Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford want to run their passing offense. And on a similar note, I really like Terrence Ferguson. I understand people are very concerned about Tyler Higbee. I am concerned about that too, but I think he's a really fun prospect, super athletic guy. Everything we've heard from the Rams from the draft and how they view Ferguson was they would have taken him if the Falcons didn't knock on their door and give them an offer at the end of the first round. They moved back because they were comfortable he would still be there. He was their guy. He was this addition that they wanted to make to their tight end room that they've wanted to make for a while. They were rumored to trade up for Brock Bowers last year. This is something that they've been sort of fixated on, is finding a better option than Tyler Higbee. So if Ferguson is playing like what they hoped he would be and what they've been searching for in camp, I guess I just have a hard time believing that Tyler Higbee is going to be this thorn in his side for all 17 weeks. And when you have the Matthew Stafford offense, when you have this ability for it to consolidate on a couple of guys in any sort of contingent scenario, it's a really fun use, I think, of late round picks because there are 2 guys where I can see them being total zeros, but you can also see with just one injury or one underperformance, and they become sort of the apple of McVay and Stafford's eye. Maybe they're a guy that we're actually just projecting to score 12, 13, 14 points a week going through the fantasy playoffs.
And the Rams are so interesting too, as far as how polarized their players are from an ownership perspective. Obviously, you have the big 2 wide receivers, Kyron Stafford, those guys drafted in every draft. And then you have this new kind of backfield addition in Hunter and Corum, who aren't, selected in every draft. And then Ferguson's at 45%. The field is taking him, and I'm looking at ETR's projected ownerships right now. But I was curious how you think about Tutu Atwell. I assume you think he's overdrafted at 62%, whereas Whittington, I haven't heard many people talk about him. He's at 9.3% right now.
Well, I don't mind Tutu either, but I think it's a different bet. So I take Tutu on my Puka teams, where like if I have a Puka Stafford stack and I just want an extra Ram to throw in there, I'll take Tutu and hope for the big 50-yard shot play. Whittington's a little different. Stafford to me is just a really well-priced option, but sometimes I don't have Puka or Adams. And it's one of my favorite back stacks to do this sort of Stafford, Ferguson, Whittington thing. and then you're kind of betting to me on an injury to Puka or Devontae. I see Jordan Whittington as much more of a high upside contingent piece. He's almost like a late round running back to me at wide receiver, whereas Tutu to me is more of the De'Ami Brown, the Darius Slayton, like sort of just throw this guy on the team and hope to collect a couple of spike weeks. I think Whittington has the higher upside because he's the one, like, picture yourself in week 15 and one of these wide receivers is 33% owned in cash at $4,800 on DraftKings. Like, that's to me more likely to be Jordan Whittington than Tutu Atwell.
Yep. What about your favorite draft structure this year? I feel like the theme of this year to me, it really is a choose your own adventure year for how much you want or how you want to build. So what is the favorite adventure you've been taking in drafts?
Yeah, I mean, I wrote a piece where my sort of boring conclusion was like, I actually don't think we need to care that much about draft structures this year. Like I went in pretty open-minded. I looked through basically where the spike week upside came from in the draft. And it comes more from wide receivers and running backs, and it specifically comes more from wide receivers that used to be going next to the running back dead zone. That's not really how we approach the running back position anymore. We've gotten more efficient about it. And now it's to the point where this area of the draft, you're looking at much higher projections on the running backs, really from round 3 and onward until the end of round 7 or round 8. And while the wide receivers can still match them, I think in terms of the spike week upside, it's much more efficiently calibrated. So I think ultimately, balanced builds make a lot of sense when you're looking at, well, if everything is priced reasonably efficiently, we don't want to take on diminishing returns. That being said, where do I get that balance? Well, my favorite piece is as we've priced the running backs down systematically, I think that while we've appropriately pushed down some players, like a Chuba Hubbard might have been around 3 pick, a few years ago, or Joe Mixon might have been around 3 pick a few years ago. And I think we've done a good job of putting them where they are. I think we've maybe overly punished, though, some extremely exciting players. Marion Hampton is of course rising, but like he's a guy that in round 4 has been, I think, a pretty incredible click all year. Breece Hall's a bit divisive, but I still believe in the talent a lot. I've been clicking the crap out of him at the 3-4 turn. I already mentioned Henderson. You could throw Harvey in this. Like, to me, like Henderson is an example of like a prospect that everyone agreed on as being a really, really strong prospect. We've felt that way basically since his freshman year in college in the Devy community. He goes into an offense that at least a lot of people are excited about next to a pretty surpassable incumbent and has pass catching upside on a team with, pad receivers. He's going in the 6th. Like that, to me, that just doesn't make sense to me as a bet. So to me, the running back upside is so strong in this 3, 4, 5, 6 range that if I'm going to try to do this balanced build, that's where I want to get it. So I'm trying when possible to start with the early wide receivers and then do this. I think I've called it the hyper dead zone, but basically taking 2 to 3 running backs in that round 3 to 6 window and focusing as much as I can on what I see as these uniquely high upside bets where we have this elite 2025 running back class coming into the mix at the same time that we're pushing running backs down our board. And the convergence of those two things, I think, is giving us access to really, really unique levels of upside in the middle of our drafts.
Yeah, I like that, especially because there's a lot of profiles in that 3 through 6 range that are very intriguing for different reasons. And then there's almost like what I now consider like the true dead zone, which is like round 7 through 10, where those are the profiles that spook me the most, where then we come back around to what, like picks 115 to 150. That's where I'm like, hey, give me my Tootin, like there, the Ray Davises, all of those, the Bensons. But it's like the Pacheco, Swift, those guys are the ones that really spook me most of any kind of, ADP cohort.
They do spook me a lot. And I think that they are okay prices because, like, again, these are guys we probably would have drafted in round 5 and 6 before. So they're certainly better calibrated in 7 and 8. But to me, that's where I'm more excited by the wide receivers. Like, I think the wide receivers are pretty flat you could set your line wherever you want, but like, I already start getting disillusioned about the wide receiver position after like the late 2nd. And then, there's a group of guys that I like and they're kind of smattered in throughout that are interesting. But I look at that range, I'm like, I would rather just take the shots on, the Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, Jaden Higgins, Mecca Buka over these running backs I don't think that group of wide receivers is all that different than the Jaden Reed, who I take so much of, but Ricky Pearsall, Jacoby Myers, like the guys going at the 6-7 turn, or even like a Judy going in the middle of the 6th next to those running backs I'm super excited about. And the big thing, and this is not a revolutionary take, it seems like everybody kind of agrees on it almost this year, is I just want to be taking as many quarterbacks as humanly possible from like round 9 through 12, 13, because I do think there's a very drastic wide receiver drop off at that point. Also in that piece I was referencing, most of the late round wide receiver upside, if you look through the piece, it'll look like there's a lot of late round wide receiver upside out there. Most of that's because I'm looking at historically through Best Ball Mania, where we used to just be really stupid about drafting rookie wide receivers. Like we used to have Garrett Wilson going at wide receiver 59. We had Justin Jefferson going, in the 12th or 13th round. Higgins was like a late round pick. Christian Watson was like not even drafted in every single draft in August of his rookie year. It was crazy how we used to treat the position. Rashee Rice was a really late round hit. Dell, etc. The wide receiver rookie upside is now being, again, I think appropriately priced. But what that means is, like, once you get past, I think that group of, they've spread from each other now, but Ibuka, Higgins, Harris, Burden, to me, the upside is really shot at the wide receiver position, and you're more just buying routes. And I just don't really see a good reason why I should draft like the routes available to me at pick 130 instead of the routes available to me at pick 180. Like I would rather just pay less and draft like the Darius Slaytons than pay up for a Christian Kirk. And it feels similar to me at running backs. Like once we're through the timeshare guys or the exciting rookies that could earn a role by themselves, like your Scatabo, Tootin, Tracy's in there, Warren's in there, Mason, like it's like at this point, like why am I paying up for Isaac Orendo exactly? Like why is he that different than Will Shipley? Like I feel like it's like we have to order these route-based wide receivers and these RB2s in some way. But I don't know why I'm picking the premium of what I think is kind of fundamentally the same type of bet, when at that same time, there's a lot of really, really fun quarterback clicks and some reasonable tight end clicks.
Before we hop in a draft, our last question here, any Galaxy Brain ideas you've been employing? You've been playing it pretty straight and narrow.
Man, like I feel like I've been Galaxy Braining less than ever because I feel like I guess I just don't think that, like, to me, when I get into really big structural stuff, when I get into Galaxy Brain stuff, to me, those are like exploitative strategies. And I don't think this is a year that really requires exploitative strategies. I think this is the best our ADP has ever been. So I feel like I'm just betting on myself to pick better players than the market this year, which who knows whether that's going to be the case. To the extent that I have like Galaxy Brain ideas, I guess I think I'm just trying to take more seriously what everybody agrees on, which is that the third round sucks. Like everybody seems, you listen to these podcasts and the conclusion seems to be, well, this third round is kind of bad. Like who you pick in the third round is going to decide fantasy this year. And my answer to that is, what if I just didn't pick anyone in the third round? Like what if I took 40% combined of the third round and I just took the players that I liked instead in round 4 and 5 and 6? I mean, I so often look at round 4 and I'm like, and round 5, it's like, well, I would really like to get a lot more of Hampton, and I'd like to get more of Daniels, and I'd like to get more of Tat, and I'd like to get more of Hunter and Ken Walker and these guys. And it's like, well, one way I could do that is instead of just like obligatorily taking a Marvin Harrison, who I don't want actually at all, I'll just take the round 4 player in round 3. I'll take another round 4 player in round 4, or a round 5 player in round 4, and I'll just build the team that I want with the combinations that I want. I think that gives me a unique disadvantage. And I also think it's just legitimately possible this year in this one specific spot that I would not be surprised if round 5 collectively outscores round 3. I actually think it will.
Yeah, no, it's a great point because we get so anchored to ADP. Like, I have to take DJ Moore here when it's like, well, what if you just want both George Pickens and Jalen Waddle on a team? It's like you just pull up one of those guys into the 4th round. Yeah, because I think I feel that dynamic even more with the 4-5 than I do the 3-4, where it's like, man, I'd like to take 2 of these 5th round wide receivers. And unless you're creative enough to break free from the shackles of ADP, you're not going to end up with those guys comboed on the same team a lot.
Yeah, like I look at my rankings and I'm constantly trying to find reasons to move round 3 players up closer to where they go so that people maybe won't be as extreme as I'm willing to be. But like, I'd be perfectly happy if I drafted 0% of Marvin Harrison, JSN, Terry McLaurin, Kyron Williams, DJ Moore. Like, I don't want any of those guys on a single one of my teams, quite frankly.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and it's understanding ADP is important. It is predictive of fantasy points, but tiers are also a huge factor. And there's a long, flat tier with a lot of these guys. So this is going to be fun. We hopped into Best Ball Mania Draft. We do have the draft slot to set up the Jags premium double almost perfectly. I mean, maybe Hunter doesn't come all the way back to 60, or sorry, what would it be, 59? But we can give it a college try.
Well, this is pre-recorded, right? So we have a chance?
Yeah. We have a chance.
Yeah, okay. Yes. We have a chance.
No stream, no chat here.
We got it on our, shockingly, because actually I think the ADP chasing YouTube commenters mostly just come to talk shit about Travis Hunter, so maybe it's not surprising. But we got it on our impromptu draft with Shope when
Yes.
I was left alone for 5 minutes. We did get the Thomas Hunter team.
All right, at 111 here, Neighbors, Amon-Ra, Genty, BTJ. Do you pull up BTJ or hope he falls to 14?
I would well, if Neighbors is there, I definitely want him.
Yeah.
And then if he's not, then my highest ranked would be Thomas, but I'd be happy to take Amon-Ra and then see if we can get Thomas on the wrap, or we can just take Thomas. Let's just take Thomas. He's my
Let's just take him. You know, sometimes here we got to see if we can pull it off, and it would be heartbreaking if we took a guy we weren't as quite excited about just to play the ADP game there.
All right, there we go.
So yeah, Neighbors goes, we take Thomas, then Amon-Ra comes off right after. We'll see here. He does Achane, and so now we're back on the clock.
This would be Genty for me, I think.
Yeah, let's do it.
I haven't taken a lot of him, but I like him a lot more in the second.
Yeah, and with Genty too, gives you a lot of flexibility here. And yeah, he's kind of dropped a little bit. I think it's more from some of these other guys, you know, CMC obviously. But yeah, so we start with BTJ and Genty, and now we can prepare for the dreaded 3rd round that we hate.
Yeah, exactly.
So Allen comes off the board in this gross 3rd round. Is this when you actually start considering some of the elite QBs?
That's what I've been struggling with for most of the season. My answer to that has been no. But the more I'm thinking about it, it's like, well, if I don't like this 3rd round, you know, the wide receivers and running backs, and if they do all fail, I don't think, barring injury, that Allen and Lamar and Daniels are going to fail. They're going to have great seasons. So wouldn't that be a perfect time to just lean into that, take more of them? The issue is then I don't know what the heck else to do in the window. So I think what I've maybe tried to think about is on these teams where I don't get Bowers or McBride, when I'm on this end of the draft, it kind of fits really nicely where you miss out on Bowers, you miss out on McBride, you're set up well to take the elite quarterbacks. Then maybe in that quarterback window is where I just start taking like a lot more David Njoku and Tucker Kraft and Colson Loveland and Tyler Warren. I don't know how much you've thought about that choice, but if I sort of see this early part and that late part as QB tight end in either order. Okay.
So is this where you do like an Amari and Hampton?
I like Hampton here.
Yeah.
I would do Hampton here for sure. He'd be my highest.
Yeah, so let's do the double rookie running back start. We'll stick to that Galbrain idea of, hey, fuck the 3rd round. We're going to ignore that it exists, and we're just going to get the guys that we like here. We're not going to force Kyron. We're not going to force, obviously, Rashi's in a free fall. Mike Evans. Who would be your ideal 4th round pick here now?
I'd be Ted McMillan, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was a bit on Best Ball Breakfast this morning. I have a swear jar anytime I call him that. Apparently, he doesn't like to be called that.
Oh, right.
Or T-Mac. So I just want you to know you can do what you want, but I can't pay another $1 for the swear jar today.
All right, Tedero McMillan. On the bright side, though, my my penance to the swear jar, even if I give you a loony, that's like 68 cents. So I'm getting off cheap.
All right, the sweat is on here. Can we get no? Of course, right when I say
not even close. Not even close.
It's weird because I feel like the Travis Hunter sentiment can like swing on a day-to-day basis where like I have some shares of him in the early 6th and in non-BBM formats too, like the Eliminator and stuff. You can get him at like 75.
I can tell you he's not gotten to me in the early 6th, and I think I have one reason why.
Because you take him in the 5th.
That's why he's not making it out of the 5th of my draft.
So let's regroup here. The team so far, we got the 2 rookie running backs, Genty and Amari and Hampton. We got Brian Thomas and Tedaroya McMillan. What do you start to think about here? You mentioned Trevion Henderson. He's reliably there in the early 6, so I think we can pencil him in. How else do you want to play the 5'11"?
Well, okay. So I was gonna say Flowers would be the guy, but after that, I kind of again prefer guys that go in the 6th than the guys go here. I would do Henderson and Olave personally.
Yeah. So their ADPs here are basically identical. Both should be there. Who do you like to lock up first?
Well, I came on here to talk about Henderson, so let's just make sure we get him on the team, and then we can add Olave, and if he goes, then we can add one of the other wide receivers instead.
So we add Trevion Henderson. So what do you say?
Drafted the entire 2025 rookie class.
I was just going to say, what do you say to people who are like, okay, yeah, these guys all got good draft capital, very talented players, but what happens if they're in committees to start the season? Or what happens if they're not giving you a lot of early season production? Can you actually get this team to the playoffs with 3 rookie running backs as we add Chris Olave here?
Yeah, this is obviously a bit extreme, but it is probably not that dissimilar to how I actually draft. I don't think Genty or McMillan actually like count in the sense of being slow starting. Like Ashton Genty is going to be getting all of the work from day one. So to me, like the rookie idea does not really apply to him. And I feel very similar about McMillan. I don't think they're going to mess around. I think he's going to be playing 80 to 90% of the routes from the very first week. I would be very surprised if that's not the case. Not to say he won't improve as a player over the course of the year, of course, but just in terms of opportunity share, I think he'll be A-okay. Hampton and Henderson, I do expect, a more gradual rollout. But they're like probably my 2 favorite clicks at the running back position right now. So I have a hard time saying just because they might both have more back-weighted production, that means I never take them together. I have made a point of when I don't already have 2 running backs. Like let's say that Ashton Genty was Drake London or Amon-Ra St. Brown. In that scenario, I would probably have tried to do something like Henderson paired with a Kamara or a James Conner at that 5-6 turn, which has been one of my favorite things to do, where if I don't need the wide receiver, I take Henderson and then I chaperone him with one of those fast starting older running backs that go in that same place.
That dynamic is one I've been wrestling with a lot lately, in that there are scenarios where Henderson is a fast start guy, where he's on the field early, he's breaking off big plays, he has a bigger role than imagined. And then in hindsight, you kind of regret the Kamara pick in that specific instance. But then there's also times where it does play out exactly like this. We've seen it, even like Jonathan Taylor, his rookie year, where it like took him a while to get cooking there. So I'm always wrestling with like, do you play the most likely thing, or do you just get uber aggressive and like, hey, some of these teams, I want to play it like these guys are all going to get off to fast starts.
And I'll say with Connor, I think he is a different bet than the rest of the old running backs in that he just rocks. Like he's still awesome at the game. He's coming off of probably the best real life season of his career, which came off of probably the previous best real life season of his career. So, and I also think the Cardinals are going to be fine. Like they'll probably be in the playoff hunt. So it's a lot easier for me to imagine a world where James Conner, starts fast and ends fast, as he did last year. Whereas Alvin Kamara, it's harder for me to close my eyes and picture Alvin Kamara being a guy you're really pumped to have in week 15 through 17 on the 2025 Saints. I respect the projection that he's going to have in the early season and the possibility that maybe that carries through all year. And I think he's fairly priced because of it. But yeah, it's a tough, he's the player that I have the hardest time envisioning being a great end of season play, just because I don't think he's all that great anymore. And the Saints are going to be so bad.
So we're about to pick here at 7-11, pick 83. I see a guy here in the queue who is one of your favorites.
I have a certain idea of who we might want on this team.
I'll go ahead and put Josh Downs in the queue again. The benefit of pre-recording this, he does get back to us. Easy click for you here.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we add Josh Downs as our wide receiver 4 here. We get that week 17 bring back opposite of Brian Thomas. We're doing good on our initiatives here in this draft. Mooney goes. We're about to pick at 8-2.
We're now kind of in that one boomer pick because I'm actually really into Mooney, but that's taken off the board. I guess I'd go Ayuk or Pittman.
Okay, I haven't done. Who do you want to talk about more?
Let's double it up. Let's go with Pittman. Actually, no, let's do Ayuk's more interesting. We're screwed.
No, I think I might have done it. I did it.
Oh my god, man. Those nimble fingers, feet. Nimble fingers.
Well, yeah, talk through that decision. Obviously the double stack, but we might play it through the Jags, hopefully. You know, I will just say Ayuk has been a tougher click for me in that I think the market is going to continue to double count when he gets the official in-season pup list for missing 4 games. And so I'm just like, do I just want to wait and get like after pick 100 Ayuk? But I think treating him like a rookie wide receiver at these prices makes a ton of sense.
Do we think that's going to happen? He feels like the one guy where it might actually be priced in. I know it's like every time you think something's priced in, it's not. But like, if people actually thought he was playing week 1, he would just be the highest drafted 49ers wide receiver, wouldn't he?
Yes, but I mean the like almost how we got the ambiguity. So like the pup thing that came out, which was the conjunction Pearsall and Ayuk, it's like they're 2 different pup things because Pearsall is likely going to come off that pup before it matters. But the Ayuk one, people are fully expecting him to miss actual games.
Yeah, for sure. I guess I just think he's only at this price because people are, I don't know. People are bad at this. Like we thought Jonathan Brooks was priced in last year. Well, obviously what actually happened with Jonathan Brooks, we didn't think was priced in. But we thought him starting the year on pup was priced in. It obviously turned out not to be. Maybe it's not with Ayuk either. I haven't taken much of him either. I have Pittman ahead of him in the ranks. I usually am taking Mooney or Ibuka on that turn. I was surprised that they were both off the board. I think I'm warming to the possibility of Ayuk mostly because we're getting some weird vibes out of now the other 49ers, right? We have Jennings holding out, which again is a piece where I think he's going to play for the San Francisco 49ers this year. But if he's demanding a trade, if there winds up being any potential hold in or hold out associated with this demand, basically anything that makes him less of sort of the favored son of Kyle Shanahan's wide receivers, I think that matters. I think that he predetermines more of who gets the ball when than basically any play caller in the game. And I think that like how he feels about you personally matters more than for probably any other play caller. So I think that inflicts some level of risk. And then Pearsall is expected to be okay. But again, like any time that he's missing in camp for a young wide receiver who played not that much last year, I think that's meaningful. So if the arrows are slightly down for these other guys and Kittle's racing up the board, I'm thinking, well, maybe I should give a little bit more credence to Ayuk, who I'd been off of. So wind up getting him there when sort of the guys that I like a little bit more, frankly, are off the board.
We have an interesting slide in this room. Patrick Mahomes all the way to 104. Quite the slide there. We're about to be on the clock. Is this where we start looking at a quarterback here?
Yeah, I think what we can do, and this is another fun part of the Ayuk thing, is I think we could do Caleb and then take Burden.
Okay. That is, and that's the creativity of the back stack there. Because I was even just looking at my Caleb exposure, and it's a little light despite having so much Burden, and it's generally because I'm grabbing Burden without him and not thinking of it through that angle.
The other thing we could do is if we wanted to really push Burden or open ourselves to Loveland as the stack instead, we could not take Burden here. We could do either Dobbins here to get early running back production or Tracy, or we could take Drake May.
Yeah, and then how do you think about Lawrence in this equation? Lawrence at 131, maybe like a 60-70% chance he's there?
Yeah, certainly wouldn't want to take him here. I think that'd be jumping the shark.
So what do you think is more, like, Lawrence is our QB3? Or, man, we're good at running back here, so it really is, I think it's probably Burden or Drake May.
I think let's just do Burden. Do Burden.
Yeah, because otherwise the whole point of the Caleb click was Burden. I mean, I guess Loveland's still there, but you really want Burden
Loveland
to make that work.
I think we do Burden here. Ideally, our next turn is Lawrence and Loveland. And then our QB3 could be it could be Daniel Jones or Tyler Shock, or it could be Bryce Young, or it could be Geno Smith. We have a lot of options.
That is the nice thing there as well. So we grab Luther Burden, the team here, Caleb to Burden. Man, this is a rookie-heavy team. Genty, Omarion Hampton, Trevion Henderson, Brian Thomas, Teteroya McMillan, Olave, Josh Downs on you. Yeah, the chat is screaming for chaperones.
We're going to get some chaperones late. Justice Hill, welcome to the team.
All right, here's the sweat. Can we get Lawrence to come back to us? There is the Travis Hunter drafter here from the 5-hole who has Allen, but could very much be in the market for his QB2 here. I'm worried we're going to get our heart broken.
I am as well, especially because he's already taken Pittman to set up the bring back. It looks a little scary.
And Goff goes. Oh, he had to take Dalton Kincaid.
There we go. He had to get a double stack down. So yeah, he's probably thinking he could get Tua because he has Tyreek Hill on this team as well.
Which is honestly smart, like pushing that QB2 when you have Allen.
Yeah. So I think we're in good shape now here.
Yeah, there's a Lamar team and Daniel's team behind us, but there's no other Jacksonville pieces unless someone's setting up like a backstack, which you definitely can with him, but it requires, again, a little creativity.
Yeah. I think we might make it through okay here.
Yes. So I'm going to put him in the queue. We do miss out on Loveland, like you mentioned, but this could also set us up for Tootin as well at 12.
Man, how many rookies can we put on one team?
Dude, this is the question. This is the question.
Oh, man.
So we grab Lawrence.
I'm starting to get a little bit squeamish. I think a tight end might not be the worst call either.
Yeah.
We don't have one yet. We're going to need 3, and we got one at a really nice value if he falls to us here.
He's going to go Jordan Love, Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, he does. Okay, so that's over. So we could do...
I'm putting him in the queue for a second.
Are we just going to lean into the bit?
Dude, I think we lean into it.
Are we going to lean in? All right, we could lean in.
Let's figure it out. We can figure it out.
Let's lean in.
Well, like you said, right? Genty, Omarion Hampton. I mean... The whole reason the Omarion Hampton bet is even more exciting now is a lot of the early season lack of production concerns have been removed because this Najee thing, like, it seems legitimately bad how quiet and eerie the reporting is on it.
I mean, I think it's been underappreciated by the market. Like it's I don't want to say it's perfect because I don't want to wish ill on Najee Harris. But it's fascinating where when the news first broke and when people didn't really know at all how serious it was, I initially tweeted that I thought Hampton should go basically where Genty and Achane go at that 1-2 turn. And I had people quote tweeting me saying, well, you should clearly go ahead of Achane if Najee misses the whole season. Sorry, I said if Najee misses the whole season, you should go with the 1-2 turn, not he should go with 1-2 turn. People were saying, oh, that's actually too low. He should be going ahead of Achane. And I guess I was just surprised by this, not because I think that's necessarily wrong, but like, I'm just surprised at how much we have allowed Najee Harris on a backup money contract to influence our view of the situation, given how backweighted tournaments are. Like, Hampton's just so much better than him, and they spent so much more capital on him. Harris has never been with this team before. It's not like he's a real incumbent. And if Hampton now gets an opportunity to work with the ones in camp and seize the job, I mean, it could just be over before it even starts. So I think Hampton should be going like early to mid 3 right now with the information that we have. And I'm surprised that people aren't more excited to take advantage of him. Like, he's like the ultimate anti-fragility bet. And we've already seen the externalities that he would need to be a way better click than he is. It's odd to me.
Do you know what's just so hilarious about who's falling right now? I have not seen Dylan Sampson go this late in all 5 of my drafts earlier today.
I know. Hey, but look, he's a fast starting rookie. So
we have to, right? Like, Dylan Sampson at 155 should not be happening.
100%.
Man.
I have him
All right,
ranked aggressively. I have him at 127.
Yeah. How about would we do Brenton Strange here stacked up as our first tight end?
That's a good call. Really good call.
And I mean, Hunter Henry, there are options here, but man, it's hard to pass on the correlated piece.
No, let's take Strange.
All right, let's see here. So we are doing very well on. I mean, we basically nailed your favorite stack. We had, other than the Travis Hunter part, we got all of them.
We got them. Yeah.
All right, so here's the team so far. 2, 5, 6, 1.
Unfortunately, will finish 9th in its pod, but it's gonna have an incredible week 13, 14 garbage time stats.
Yes. I mean, this is where you just pray and hope that some of these guys are more fast start than maybe historically would be the case. Caleb and Lawrence, Genty, Omari and Hampton, Trevion Henderson, Toot and Dylan Sampson. We have an all rookie running back room. I have not been able to do this, not because I was afraid of it. Like, it just hasn't lined up for me in that way. Brian Thomas, Teteroy McMillan, Chris Olave, Josh Downs, Ayuk, Luther Burden, and then Brenton Strange. I think we can pull this off, man. I think we can.
I agree. We got this.
All right. We are about to be on the clock again here in the 15th round. We have kind of a lot of different ways we can go to land the plane. One is we want to find some kind of wide receiver stability here, knowing Burden and Ayuk are likely to not be that impactful at the start of the season. So there is a Wan'Dale Robinson here. We could be looking at our second tight end. We're in the K-Dot and Mason Taylor Chig range. What are you seeing here?
Yeah, I think I like tap to wide receiver quick.
Yeah.
So I mean, both the guys at the top of the queue fill this role pretty well. I guess the best ones from a correlation perspective would be Pierce or Diami.
Which one do you want to go the Pierce direction and say it's kind of overkill on the Jags?
Yeah, let's do Pierce.
Yeah, so then we can get the
although
Pierce.
I would say a Thomas Brown Strange stack would be the ultimate Travis Hunter's a corner Jags stack.
That is that tells a story.
Yeah.
How do you want it? We probably should find a tight end we like here at 16-2.
I agree.
Man, what do you think? Chig is a little bring back on some New Orleans stuff. And Olave, yeah.
Sure.
K-Dot, and if you just want some routes, I guess there's a ton of bringbacks on Mason Taylor with our New England, New Orleans, and Jacksonville. Who do you like?
I mean, why don't we? Well, we don't have any rookies in the tight end room yet, so let's get some there. So let's add Mason Taylor.
God, this is what normally happens to us in our high stakes, like main event drafts, where it's like the best pick is always the rookies, and then it's like, how many goddamn rookies can we do? I mean, we are finding the limit on this one. Let's count here. Genty, Hampton, Teteroy McMillan, Henderson, Burden, that's 5, Tootin 6, Sampson 7, Taylor's 8. we got 8 of 16, 50% of our team.
So we got to get one more.
Man. The thing is, right? Like if you had this last year and it was Bucky and Jaden Daniels and Brock Bowers and you know, if you just draft the right rookies, you can draft a bunch of them.
That's true. That's the key, is you got to draft the right players.
You know what? It's like we sure talk about this sport, this fantasy game a lot, and structures and gal brain ideas, but if you just draft the right players, Jacob, any strategy can work.
It's true. That's my Galaxy. I was trying to think of a Galaxy brain take for the show because my brain has been firmly in this Galaxy this year. And I almost just jokingly typed, like, my Galaxy brain idea is taking the good players.
3 more picks. We got a 2-5-7-2, maybe a third quarterback, definitely a third tight end, maybe a 6th running back. But I will say, Jacob, we talked about your favorite late round, and it happens to be a rookie tight end. Can this team survive a Terrence Ferguson selection?
Probably not, but I want to find out.
I think we got it. We just have to push it to the max.
Yeah.
Lean into the skid. Would we take Daniel Jones here first?
Well, we have 2 options at quarterback.
Shuck.
We could do Jones or Shuck.
Yep. So I'll put Jones, Shuck, and then the wide
we
receiver.
We could also do another running back. We only have 2 picks though, so we We definitely need a third tight end. So it's either the second quarterback or the sixth running back.
All right, I'm gonna take Ferguson to start to buy us a couple seconds to talk.
The odd thing is we have enough capital invested in running back that you normally not need a sixth, but because 4 of them are rookies, it would seem reasonable. I
don't even know who the good chaperone is.
Right? Like, it's like all we would do is take like Jarquin's Hunter. So it's like, what's
is he slightly older than some of these other running backs? I think it's got to be Shaq.
Yeah, let's shock it.
I agree with you because, like you said, the capital spent is a perfectly cromulent 5 running back room, and we just have to hope that Genty and Hampton, like if Genty and Hampton are Achane and Breece Hall or whatever, like them being rookies doesn't matter.
I mean, Genty, I think thinking of Genty as a rookie is kind of pointless because he's going to have an immediately elite opportunity share. So I'm not worried about him in that context at all. Hampton and Henderson, are probably like overpriced for their week 1 projection, but they are going to have roles. Like they're going to be playing, a good bit early on. But I will concede that like if they have like a Jahmyr Gibbs start to their rookie year, it could be aggravating for this team. But Dylan Sampson is a weird one in that he's a rookie, but he could potentially be a really fast starting rookie.
Yeah. I'm also laughing because we didn't even like discuss it, but by pushing the QB decision, that Shaq is
so we get 10 rookies.
10 rookies. I'm sure there are sickos on Underdog who have eclipsed 10 rookies in a draft. I'm sure we didn't set any records, but this is definitely a record for me this year of most rookies on a team.
It's got to be for me, and I draft a lot of rookies, but it's got to be. Do we have a single player on this team that's not on their first contract?
Alec Pierce, Strange, those guys are all young.
Strange.
Ayuk.
Oh, Lawrence.
Ayuk's the only
Lawrence
one.
and Ayuk.
Yeah.
Lawrence and Ayuk are the old players on this team.
Incredible. And even when we did draft a chaperone, we drafted one who's going to miss like at least the first 4 weeks of the season.
So that's not ideal. Probably not.
All right. I'm going to recap the team, get your final thoughts on this extremely rookie heavy 3-5-7-3 build. But man, the correlations are absolute fire here. Caleb Williams, Trevor Lawrence, Tyler Shuck, Ashton Genty, Omarion Hampton, Trevion Henderson, Bashal Tootin, Dylan Sampson, Brian Thomas, Tedaroya McMillan, Chris Olave, Josh Downs, Brandon Ayuk, Luther Burden, Alec Pierce, Brenton Strange, Mason Taylor, Terrence Ferguson. Thoughts on the team, untangling the bit from reality. Can this team actually make it?
Hopefully. We're going to find out, It's certainly not a team that is familiar with the term diminishing returns. We're going to assume that the returns just continue to accumulate as you add more and more back-weighted production. I'll tell you this. Teams are not going to want to see us coming if we make it to week 15 through 17. I mean, we are going to have so much more youthful vigor and such gorgeous correlation. It would be a bad day to be in our pod. People will be posting their 182 points not advancing and blaming pod luck because of the sheer youthful vigor of this team. So we're going to need to lean on Olave and Genty and Thomas to just be absolute forces of nature in the first 3 weeks. But I think they can do it. And we're going to get this through, and then we'll cruise to the title. It'll be, once we make the playoffs, it'll be easy. Our odds will be like 1 and 2 of winning the whole thing.
And honestly, even of everything here, the only rookie dynamic that actually makes me uncomfortable is this tight end room, where it's like Strange could become completely marginalized because Hunter and Brian Thomas are dominating. Taylor could just be useless in a low volume pass offense, and Ferguson could be blocked by Higbee, and we could be scoring like 2 points a week at tight end. Like that's pretty.
Plus, everybody else.
True.
That doesn't score anyway. It's fine.
Jacob Sanderson, thinking about thinking. We drafted a very fun team last year on the channel that I believe was talking about the hyper dead zone. The one thing here is we pulled off, and let me pull this up real quick just to go through it again. We pulled off almost every objective, hyper dead zone, 2 to 3 running backs from rounds 3 through 6. Certainly did that with Omarion Hampton, Henderson, and we can stretch Genty there. Trevion Henderson, check, got him. As many Jags as possible. Boy, did we do that. Lawrence, BTJ, Tootin. We even got your bring back down, Strange, of course. Galbrain, we skipped the 3rd round. We said, fuck it. We drafted Omarion Hampton and Tedaroya McMillan. And then we got your favorite late round target, Terrence Ferguson. We did the perfect Jakob Sanderson team.
Nails. Yeah, apparently the perfect Jakob Sanderson team is a team that is currently minus 120 to finish 11th in its pod, but contingent upon that, minus 800 to win Besselmania. So excited for the week 15 through 17 is all that matters. Extreme run somewhere. Mike Leone is crying as he watches this stream. And super, super happy to be on. Very happy with this fun team. And yeah, check out Thinking About Thinking. Check out ADP Chasing. I can't imagine anyone on this here program, though, that's not familiar with ADP Chasing.
That's right. Every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Eastern, the ultimate deep dive on the current market movements, I should say. Recommend that. We'll keep these draft style videos rolling on the channel. I'm going to have a lot of stuff coming in the next month or so. And if you guys ever have guest ideas you'd like to see hop on here, answer the questionnaire and draft with me, drop it in the comments. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time on the Deposit Kingdom channel.